Welcome to the Thunder and Lightning Show. John the Son of Thunder here with Ryan the Retrograde. And
At your service, ready for duty, sir.
Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I know in our region we're going to get a little bit of snow on Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, is that Monday? Is Martin Luther King Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's a Jesuit holiday, but
Oh, yeah.
it's also a holiday for myself. I mean, I'm glad to have it off because I'll be shoveling snow and trying out the snowblower, and
yeah,
that's how it is this time of year around here.
Yeah.
But there's been a ton of news, and one of the news items that maybe wasn't really mentioned, just because there's like one piece of news and we move on to the next, is Pope Benedict XVI and how these allegations are resurfacing that he covered stuff up. Now, I don't have a whole lot of information into this, but Catholic News Agency posted an article on it. I think that Distorter, I think I originally saw it in a Distorter, and they're saying basically like these allegations are from 1980. They were already addressed, and Cardinal Marx, might have had something to do with it, and so that's why he fake resigned.
Yeah, which was totally it was like a plot from a movie or something. It was totally a scheme and a fake resign.
Yeah, but see, I don't know.
Remember, didn't we do a skit where one of us, me or you, fake resigned, and then I reinstated you to a higher position?
Yeah, I forget.
It was Parent Ryan. Maybe he did that.
Well, I think it was one of the Thunder and Lightning shows. So go back and check through them. See what you have to see there. No, I definitely remember that. And I guess, Pope Francis in his mercy, he said, "Oh, well, this wasn't a big deal." But Archbishop Alpetit of France, he gave a massage to a woman. So he needs to resign. Like, yes, I will accept his resignation because that was definitely inappropriate. Although the Sixth Commandment's not really that important.
Yeah, as we'll find out from canon law. Well, not, but anyway.
Yeah, well, he pretty much, he said, well, the Sixth Commandment, that's really not important. Yeah. But I'm going to accept his resignation anyway. Like, it was just so weird. And I'm like, wait, your friend Mark's here. I mean, is he incredibly accused of covering something up?
Well, we don't know. It's a difference between you doing something and then it being an unproven allegation and you covering it up. Those are two different crimes.
Yeah, and Alpetit was also favored by Francis, so it's like it doesn't matter, if you crush the Latin Mass, that doesn't necessarily even get you in the favor of Pope Francis, which is really interesting.
No, because Pope Francis isn't about. This is only like 5% of his effort is destroying the Latin Mass. 95% of the time, he's just trying to destroy the Catholic Church in general and introduce heresy. So it's not all about the Latin Mass.
Well, did you hear what Cardinal Tobin said about heresy?
No, what did he say? He loves it?
He said, I'll have to find it. I have it somewhere over here, but let's talk about it's hilarious. We'll deal with it later. But so maybe he did, maybe he didn't cover up abuse. All right, there we go. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't cover up abuse, but he what if he did? So you have some references from canon law.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about canon law, and how crimes, sexual crimes, and cover-ups and whatnot are dealt with. So everybody knows. I think it was Cardinal Burke got on a show. It may have been an interview with Raymond Arroyo, and he talked about that the 1983 Code of Canon Law is weak sauce when it comes to dealing with misbehaving priests. So I did some time. I got into an argument about this in August of 2018. I started to investigate this. And John, you already posted one link. It's the the 1917 Code of Canon Law in Latin. There was another link that I gave you from archive.org, which is can you post that into the show chat? That is a English commentary on the 1917 Code of Canon Law. So when you click on that link, it's already set up to query sodomy, and you'll find out it's mentioned 3 times in the 1917 Code of Canon Law. See, they're not afraid of calling a sin. So I just wanted to go over this. Again, let's look at what this 1917 Code of Canon Law says and apply it to all these cases of these naughty James Martin behaviors and stuff like that. So in the archive.org book, I am on page 378 of the actual book. Like the page itself says 378. At the top of that, it's talking about suspensions here. And this is subpoint number 7 under these suspensions Ferende Sententiae. It says secular or religious clerics in sacred orders who live in concubinage and do not amend after having been admonished are to be suspended ad divinis and to be deprived of the revenue of their office or benefice by summary trial as outlined in canons, blah, blah. Okay, so if you have a concubine, you're living in concubine, and after you've been warned, then you get a suspension ad divinis, which means you're not allowed to offer any of the sacraments, I think, period. So it's beyond public. It's just period. You're not even allowed to offer any sacraments. And then they get punished with a trial. Continuing on in that paragraph, the secular or religious clerics and religious orders here, if they have committed acts of impurity with persons under 16 years of age, adultery, attack on women, that's rape, bestiality, sodomy, bawdry, and I think bawdry is, I don't know if that's the same thing as pandering, like buying prostitutes or something. Maybe that's going to the strip club. Incest with blood relations or relations by marriage in the first degree. They are to be suspended, punished with infamy of law. Now that means that there's a public declaration that this guy is a really naughty, bad dude. And like, basically, I think that's, you get on a Megan's list or something where it's publicly known that you're a pervert and everybody knows that it's like on the outside of your house. Deprived of any office. That means they're basically not a pastor. You're nothing. You're not a seminary rector. You're not a diocesan bishop. Deprived of any office, benefice. That means all their money's taken away. Dignity. Okay. And in more serious cases, they are to be deposed, which is basically, I think that's something like completely removed from office, or maybe that's the 1917 equivalent of the reduction to the clerical state, or reduction to the lay state. I think that's actually what that is. So here's the law. If you're doing anything with somebody under 16, it's you are put on the public Megan's list, kicked out. You lose everything. You're done. Finished. Over. Game over. There's no question about it. And if this law was enforced, and this law was in effect until 1983, keep that in mind. And that's when all this molesting happened. These guys that were covering up the molesting were breaking the canon law. And this is an established law of the church, which has been there for a very long time. These guys they're guilty too of similar crimes. If you're not willing to go along with what the church says in order to protect the church and to protect people, you're complicit. So all these cover-up dudes, they should be punished too. But here's the point. And I said this in an article to somebody. Let me read this email here. Okay. This canon law, which bound all bishops and priests from 1917 to 1983, mandated an automatic suspension reserved to the Holy See, a public declaration of infamy, and a loss of all office and income and dignity for any cleric guilty of sexual encounters with a minor, that's 16 years or less, or sodomy with anybody. So enough of this stuff about like, oh, we didn't understand it and whatever.
Yeah.
It's clear here that this canon law, they swore an oath, especially bishops, to enforce this canon law, but the law is there, and they just decided they weren't going to enforce it for whatever reason, and that's inexcusable. Now, I think there's another. There might be another citation here. Do you have any remarks about that while I find this next citation? Oh,
Well,
I found it. I found it. Here it is.
Okay.
I'll go.
Yeah.
So now this talks about degradation. That's getting kicked out of holy orders. So what I just, okay, I see. Yep. All right. Now, so this is getting kicked out of holy orders, degradation. Clerics and minor orders, that's porter, lector, exorcist, acolyte, and tonsure. Clerics and minor orders guilty of very serious crimes against the sixth commandment, for instance, fornication with minors under 16 years of age, sodomy, incest, may be deprived of the clerical state. So you can get kicked out. It depends on the crime here, you know. So there's some leeway to the bishop there when it comes to those minor orders. And here's another one. By the way, that was from page 388, part 4, subsection 4, and of the book itself, page 388. And now this next source is page 384 of the book. And this is part 8, infamy of laws incurred ipso facto, subpoint 7. Laypersons, get this is talking about laypersons. Laypersons lawfully condemned for crimes of impurity with minors under 16 years of age, or for attack on women, that's rape, sodomy, bawdry, and incest. So they're declared infamy according to the law, which again gets you on some kind of ecclesiastical Megan's Law list, you know, perv list. And so there's your insight into the code, 1917 Code of Canon Law. Very clear what you're supposed to do is get these guys the heck out of there and not send them to St. Luke's Center for Perv Priests or Club Med or whatever it is. Take away their money and their dignity and put an article in the paper, an ad in the paper that says, Father John Smith is a perv. Okay? So it's quite simple. Any questions?
Why wasn't this actually enforced? That's the first question.
Yeah, well, it's the same reason why modernism got rude and Vatican II happened and all this, is that the people in charge were corrupted and they were heretics, and they weren't interested in teaching Catholicism. They were interested in singing a new church into being and being living stones and building up a new Protestant church, basically. And then also they were interested in these things, interested in impurity with persons under 16 years of age, sodomy, bawdry, and stuff like that. I need to look up what bawdry is.
Yeah, and Jeanette says, well, these days it would be a couple newspapers worth. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So bawdry is obscenity in speech or writing. So that would be,
wow.
Obviously that would be public. Suggestive, coarse, obscene language. Also, there's an older, obsolete definition of unchastity. So it might be just a general condition of unchastity. I think it has something to do with prostitutes.
Yeah, what do you think it could have to do with, like, newspapers or books or inappropriate?
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe you're writing dirty books. You know, if you're a Marquis de Sade writing old-fashioned written pornography, I'm not sure. But I don't know. If there's something bad that a priest can do, And there's some priest who's done it. So the canon law has to deal with it.
Yeah. No, I think the second question would be, why was it changed, or what was it changed to, or
You'll
what was
have to
removed?
Yeah, you'll have to give me some time on that. I don't think that 1983 Burke said this. Find that interview with Burke because he goes through the whole thing. He was on with Raymond Arroyo, and it was about a year or two ago. It was when the McCarrick thing happened. And Burke
Okay.
said, so what happened was the 83 Code of Canon Law made this real loose, and it basically put everything up to the bishop and never required him. There were no mandatory sentences. You know how, like in criminal law and stuff years ago, like everybody wanted to have these mandatory sentences and the 3 strikes you're outlaw, and so the 1917 code had mandatory sentences, but the 83, they wanted to be pastoral. It was a new springtime of love, and it was going to be all about forgiveness and mercy. And so also it's not possible for anybody to commit a mortal sin, and it's sometimes good to have these encounters with young people. So
Yeah.
I think that was the idea, this Freudian psychology, that you shouldn't repress anything.
Yeah. And living purgatory, no big deal. No one
Oh
reads
yeah,
it.
you can publish in a paper, nobody reads it. Well, you actually put
Yeah.
it on Twitter or Facebook. That's 2022's equivalent, is to put it on, denounce somebody on Facebook or Twitter, or Instagram or TikTok. You know?
Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Criticizing the Pope on Twitter or Facebook is a
Is that a
crime
mortal
against.
sin?
It's a crime against canon law.
Oh, that's right. They changed canon law because the canon. See what the modern new church is all about. It's just the cult of the papacy. It's not even about the Catholic faith. It's just cult of the. It's like Mao, Stalin, Kim Jong Un, Bergoglio. Somebody should make a meme of that 4 panel meme that's like the Andy Warhol, where you have the
Oh
Obamas
yeah.
or something in there. There were presidents or whatever. Well, you could have Stalin, Mao, Kim Jong Un, and Bergoglio. They're all 4 left wing, communist dictators.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that the modern church is a cult of the papacy as much, because I think it only fits the leftists when they have a pope that's close to their heart.
Mm-hmm.
So like JP2 wasn't super sympathetic towards the modernists. Yeah,
But there was a cult of the papacy around him. Believe me, you
sure.
saw it, the rock star phenomenon.
But then what about Benedict? It seemed like that kind of faded away with
Yeah, it did a
him.
little bit. He started out. He went to that World Youth Day, which was a rock concert, and he wore that Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat Chasuble, and he went up there, and there was like the death metal, heavy metal credo, which one of my friends told me about. He said, so Benedict goes, and it's like Latin Novus Ordo, and Benedict goes, Credo in unum Deum, and then like this heavy distorted electric guitar and drums like da 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 da, Patrem omnipotentem da 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 factorum ciliatere da 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 da. It was like that.
I'll have to find that.
Yeah, you got to find that. And then Benedict is sitting there and he's like blinking furiously, like
Well, that's like the
so uncomfortable.
I bet they brought the Prophets of Doom band in.
Oh yes, that would be a
Remember that
great
one?
cover. They could the Prophets of Doom could cover that World Youth Day death metal credo.
That was John the Son of Thunder original, Taylor Marshall and Tim Gordon,
Yeah,
Prophets of Doom heavy metal band.
maybe you could rework that and like make a meme of me and me singing that heavy metal credo in Unum Deum.
Well, we'll have to do some studio work, because Taylor Marshall and Tim Gordon are no longer, a group.
Well, they're not together, but it could be you just put me in their place.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Thunder and Lightning Prophets of Doom variation.
Yeah.
I'll have to grow my long hair back, and
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. But yeah, do you know what year you said it was at the beginning of his?
Yeah, it was 2005. So I'll have to look that up.
All right, yeah.
World Youth Day.
I wonder if that's posted on YouTube. That'd be pretty funny.
Might be. Let's see. Yeah, it was in
Whoa,
Germany. It was in Germany, 2005, August.
I'm getting a lot of communist comments here. What is it? G from the Communist Party
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
we call him President 11. You know how like there's Mass 11,
Oh
which is
yeah.
done for the Green Sundays. So there's President 11 from China.
And then what? Kim was educated by the Jesuits in Switzerland.
Really,
Oh,
Lil Kim, Rocket Man.
it's funny how North Korea. I'm actually kind of fascinated by the country because it's such a isolated country, but not in a good way. Obviously, I'm not fascinated in a good way, but
Mm-hmm.
um, it in Switzerland. Whenever North Korea is all about their national sovereignty, and
Yeah,
it it's just so baffling that people are like, oh yeah, and then they have a cottage where they take people to in the mountains, and they say, oh, Kim was born here, and he was born underneath a rainbow, and there were
yeah.
like,
Unicorns.
yeah, unicorns because they don't believe in angels or supernatural things,
Yeah.
and
So
although they
yeah,
although he probably had the clouds part and the sun shine down on him and say, this is my son.
yeah. You are my son. This day I have begotten you.
Straight from the Bible. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why it's illegal to sell Bibles there. I don't know.
because it's yeah, because Lil Kim Rocket Man is not the Messiah.
Well, I'll tell you what is in Switzerland that they always go there. McCarrick went there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Well,
Taylor Marshall did that show and said that there's like that was where that Theosophic Society or something was started. Aleister Crowley had a headquarters of some society there in St. Gallen, Switzerland.
well, there's also you hear of Swiss bank accounts, which is where the rich people invest a lot of their money. And
Yeah.
is that to avoid tax?
Yeah. Yep. Excuse me. Because they had secret banking laws there that they would never disclose. The banks there never disclosed anything about their depositors. So you could have secret bank accounts and basically have zillions of dollars, and it would be hidden from taxes by your native country.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Switzerland's a unique area. Plus, they have the Alps, which is, the pictures are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have our favorite our favorite diocese, Chur, Switzerland,
Oh yeah.
where they
Wow.
have retired Bishop Hawander,
Who's great?
he's
Yeah.
SSPX. I think,
Bishop. The previous bishop was Bishop Elegandi, who's also a based rad trad Benedictine. He is.
and then I think they have a former. I wonder if that's him. Is
Oh
there a
no, there's
former auxiliary?
Bishop like Lotz or Metz or something who was transferred to Liechtenstein, and he was a rad trad too, who was doing ordinations for his diocese in the Old Rite, and he was like only celebrating the Old Rite. I forget his name. I'm gonna look it up.
Well, and now they have Pope Francis' favorite Bishop Calvin Klein.
Bishop Calvin Klein, I'm bulking up. He follows the Wood on Fire workout program. He's huge.
He also follows the work of Opus Dei and the work of Father James Martin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely Rainbow Bishop. What is he? A fan of communion for Protestants? And
Yeah.
it's pretty bad.
Wolfgang Haas. So Wolfgang Haas was transferred from Chur to some diocese in Liechtenstein, and he was a rad trad. And then there was this other guy, Amadi Grab. Don't know anything about him. And then Vitus Huander, who we talked about before, Bonamain. At some point in time, there was here's the Catholic hierarchy. There was the Benedictine Elegandi. So he's an auxiliary bishop emeritus. He quit early. He's only 70. He's 66 years old, and he's an emeritus. He quit because he was a rad trad, and the libs in the diocese hated him.
Yeah,
Did you know Huander? Huander is he's 79. I
oh
didn't
wow.
realize he was that old.
Yeah, so he's older than what any of the SSPX bishops, unless you count Williamson, huh?
Yeah, Williamson I think is over 80. Wolfgang Haas, he's still active, and he's 73 years old, and he is the Archbishop of Vaduz, Liechtenstein. And this other guy, Bishop Amadei Grab, he's actually a Benedictine, and he's dead. He died in 2019. And he was Bishop of Chur for about 10 years.
Yeah, you mentioned the name Wolfgang. I think Jeremiah Bannister named his son Wolfgang.
Oh, really? That's cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, that's something I would do. Unless, if you're super trad, then you'll name your son either Athanasius or Pius.
Yeah.
Because just because.
Williamson Williamson's going to turn 82. His birthday is March 8th, so he's coming up. He converted in 1971, and he was ordained a priest in 1976 at the age of 35 years old by Archbishop Lefebvre.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I had a random thought this weekend. Someone reminded me. Have you followed the Crisis in the Church series by the SSPX?
Yeah, I don't watch every episode because they're long, but I watch a lot of them.
The one with Bishop Fillet, where he was talking about the ordinations or the consecrations of bishops.
Yeah.
Consecration in singular terms. But he said the night before, I didn't catch this, or maybe I did and I didn't remember it, but the night before the consecrations, a vehicle came with people from Rome, diplomats from Rome, and they told him, we'd like to talk to you in the vehicle. And he didn't go in the vehicle. He refused. And they were pressuring him to go in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, why did they want him to go in the vehicle?
Yeah, they were going to kidnap him.
Exactly, yeah.
Or kill him.
Yeah, cut off there. But yeah, like it's a shady it's a shady world out there.
The Vatican especially is one of the most shady places. It's like these are your steps in terms of shadiness. Used car lots, ghettos, the 7-Eleven or whatever, the industrial side of town after dark, the Vatican, certain parts of Vegas. They're all places where you wouldn't want to be. Go talk to people, like take kids, women, whatever.
well, and I think that Archbishop Lefebvre is comparable to Saint Athanasius in many ways.
Yeah,
and it's because the Arians. I don't know if Athanasius was excommunicated, but I know that he was.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he was definitely forced to leave. Because,
he was excommunicated.
Okay. And there were a lot of Arian bishops,
mm-hmm.
but he kind of just stood his ground and moved forward, and history recognizes him as a great saint in the church. Now, for Lefebvre, unfortunately, whenever he died, he was not recognized as a saint. He wasn't. Athanasius was given his respect before he died. He was able to return to become the bishop, or to return to his rightful place as bishop.
I'm not at all familiar with his life, and really I know general things, but I have no commentary about his life. I don't know.
Yeah, I just listened to an audiobook. So,
okay. All right.
As I was listening to it, I was kind of like, there's some parallels here to Lefebvre, because, it's just Lefebvre was surrounded by heretics, and not surrounded, but all around him there were heretic bishops.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and he was like, no, I'm gonna stick to the Catholic faith. And there was pressure for him to reject it, but he was like, no, I'm not going to. And He stood his ground, and because of him, we have the old mass. That's not debatable.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to move on to? Is that all you have, or do you want to talk? Do you have anything else on?
I don't have anything else to say about the 1917 Code of Canon Law, other than I did look up. Williamson was ordained in 76. Bishop Tissier, Father Tissier de Malarai, was ordained in 1975. Father de Galaretta was ordained in 1980, and Father Fillet was ordained in 1982. So those are the 4 SSPX bishops and their ordination dates. So Fillet he'll turn 64 this year. He's young still. He was ordained a bishop when he was 30 years old. I didn't realize that. That's so based. Fillet was ordained a bishop at 30 years old. Wow. Unbelievable.
I mean, if you have some of the seminarians coming out of these traditional seminaries,
they're only 30.
I wouldn't be opposed to having some of them ordained bishops. I mean,
yeah.
Now, and to be fair, they weren't diocesan bishops. I mean, they weren't. That wasn't the intent.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Now, living purgatory. This is an interesting comment. I don't know if you want to go this direction or not. Very difficult to talk with people about SSPX since Church Militant video on schism.
Oh, did they do a video recently?
I don't know if that was the first one.
Okay.
But here's an interesting thing. Have you heard about Church Militant's parallel magisterium, where they have their group of 12 priests? And I don't know if there's
is that true? I don't hear about it.
Yeah. They're organizing a group of, I don't know if it's priests and lay people or just priests, but they're anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to have their 12 experts, I guess, create their alternative magisterium.
Wait, there's 12, and let's see, which one is Vorus the Judas in this group or not?
Well, I mean, you're probably going to have someone like Father Altman, and
yeah. The problem is they'll kick out Altman because he's pro SSPX. They can't have that other priest. Who is that one priest that they featured on their canceled priest who's a genuine sedevacantist? He affiliated with the CMRIs. Church militants they have no capital anymore. They have no priests who are in their entourage because everybody in their entourage is either pro SSPX, sedevacantist, and then lay people. They have Milo, who's doing that home shopping network thing. There's nobody left. Everybody's distanced themselves from Church Militant. I think we were the first to do it. Or maybe no, E. Michael Jones was the first to do it. Go back, get on BitChute. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll find you the link so you can post it. And I'll talk while I find this link. It's when E. Michael Jones did a hit piece on Michael Voris because he knew Voris and had done work for him. And it's called Behind the Gay Vortex.
Now, he was the first, presumably. I mean, the first big name. Who came before us in distancing ourselves? I know the Remnant never liked them, or not never liked them, but the Remnant always had kind of like a conflict. Well, they were SSPX, so
yeah.
I'm not sure. I know people pick sides, and that really caused kind of like a division because I know that there was a big side. Like the Catholics were really starting to rise up, and they're saying we want the Carrick Report and we want to work together, even though some of us are Latin Mass, some of us are Novus Ordos, but we just want to purge these corrupt characters out of our church.
Yeah.
And then Church Militant divided it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be Taylor Marshall, huh? He didn't really distance himself from them, though.
Who?
Taylor Marshall.
Didn't distance himself from whom?
Church Militant.
Yeah. Was he ever on there? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he interviewed Voris.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, they were good. They were like he had Boris on several times. He had Christine Niles on,
Okay.
and I think he had her on like it was like right before they kind of launched their SSPX attack.
Okay.
So they kind of like stabbed him in the back when he was giving them. I don't know. How can I argue? Let's see here.
Here it is. I found it.
How can I argue with the cult of church militant?
How can you?
I don't know. I mean, they have the magic glasses, you know.
Exactly. Is this it? Let's see if this is it.
No, Ryan, there's 12 of them. Think about it. Who led the 12? That's what he sees himself as. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right, John, that is the link that goes to E. Michael Jones, Understanding Michael Voris. It's from September 2016, and it explains what's wrong with Michael Voris. Because there is a lot wrong with him, and you'll see it there. It's a very good program. Now, when that came out, I thought, why is E. Michael Jones doing this? Why is he attacking Michael Voris unprovoked? And now, with hindsight being 2020, and we're 5 years after that, I think he realized that there was something bad and there was ill intent with Michael Voris, and I think that E. Michael Jones had the answer. Now, what was interesting is that Michael Voris never attacked E. Michael Jones. When Jones did this hit piece on him, Voris and Church Militant were completely silent. So what does that? Why? What's the answer?
Because,
What's the reason for that?
well, do you know the answer?
Some people had suspected that this was an internecine fight between two Opus Dei operatives, because they said that E. Michael Jones was affiliated with Opus Dei, and obviously Michael Voris is, and so there was factions of Opus Dei that were fighting, and that was one explanation that I heard. I think Randy Engel may have
Yeah.
brought forward that explanation. I think now the second thing is I thought at that time I thought it was happening because I thought Voris was trying to be Christian and not respond to an unprovoked attack. Now I just wonder if it's because E. Michael Jones knows quite a bit. Like, I think E. Michael Jones knows people, places, and things with Michael Voris's lifestyle, and I think E. Michael Jones, even in that show that you just posted a link for, I think he talks about that. I think he may make an allegation that Voris was still an active homosexual in 2016 while he was a church militant. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. I hope that's not spreading a rumor, calumny, or detraction or anything like that. But it seems like Jones was so thoroughly disgusted with him that he went and did this article and entire show against him.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and yeah, because if you look at how Michael Voris reacts to criticism now, even a channel like us, if he would get wind of this,
yeah,
he'd probably come after us and attack us.
Well, he would send bots or operatives or,
Like,
lackeys to come.
look at what he's doing to Mike from Restoring the Faith Media.
Yeah, well, Mike from RTF has quite a number of subscribers. He has 10 times, maybe 100 times more than us.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. This isn't like a gigantic YouTube channel. Mike also has a lot more to lose. Like, they released his real name, which no one knew or cared about.
Yeah, and does anybody know or care about now?
No.
So
Maybe
what
his
did that do?
employer.
The only thing they did was sue him. So whatever.
Yeah, well, and Mike, he's actually like, I think he actually enjoys the attention.
He does. He's using this. Now, the other thing is, now, if you're somebody like Michael Lofton from Reason and Theology, you can use this stuff and just sell more Patreons. If you lose your job or you're outed or whatever, you just sell out to the Vatican II industry, to Mr. Vatican II. You take the suitcase of cash, and you jump on the Catholic Answers bandwagon, you bash the SSPX, and then you're set for life. And but we're not going to do that. Oh, Living Purgatory says Vorus excoriated someone who attacked him today. Yeah, that's all it is it's just Vorus having meltdowns every day. It is totally a cult of personality with him.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like, here's the thing. This channel is going to get a content strike at some point.
It's going to get huge. It's going to
No,
be huge. The best channel, John, Son of Thunder, believe me.
Well, it's going to get a content strike, though.
Why? Why would we ever get a content strike? All of our material is original. You don't think I write all my own jokes, okay? These scripts?
Not copyright. Content.
Oh, content strikes. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I already have one.
They go away after like 6 months.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they do.
This one hasn't gone away. I see it every time I log in.
How many months ago did you get this strike?
Well, let me double check. It was a long time ago.
I think they last for 6 months.
Well, let me double check because it might have actually gone away. But I know I got a warning.
Return to Tradition just uses code language. He calls it the Moloch agenda, the James Martin activities.
I mean, I try, but you never know. I mean, sometimes
there is no try. There's only do or do not. There is no try.
Well, I don't know. I'm not really sure, but the thing is, if you don't see me on here for a week, maybe you'll know what happened.
Well, Parent Ryan will take your place. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I guess so. No, I still have that warning, and I got it a long time ago. So.
Oh, you still have the warning?
Yeah. So, and that was for a Father Altman video. I basically just said I support what he's saying, and he was against this stuff. He was against all the nonsense, the virus stuff being promoted, and this AP article was horrified that, you know, people weren't social distancing at his church, and he was handing out communion on the tongue. What a danger!
Oh, it's so dangerous. What's gonna happen? Oh.
Other James Martin, he posted a tweet a while ago about how communion on the tongue is dangerous. Like, well, I would say, like, wait, is it dangerous to your health or dangerous to your faith? Because Father Martin's dangerous to your faith. What's worse?
Yeah.
You know, but
how come James Martin doesn't want to talk about the dangers, the unhealthiness, and unsafetyness of James Martin activities?
Yeah, he fleeced J.D. Flynn and Raymond Arroyo. I saw.
Okay.
So actually, Raymond Arroyo is going to lead the Mardi Gras parade.
What?
In New Orleans. Wow. Isn't that like wildly inappropriate?
I'm not sure. I don't know if the parade itself is wildly
inappropriate. I thought it was.
But I think all of that Mardi Gras thing in New Orleans is inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was, so I don't know what he's doing. But J.D. Flynn actually. I'm gonna quote something he said.
Oh, what did he say?
He was saying something about the Legionaries of Christ, Maciel.
The Legionaries' disease of Christ.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote that in EVTN on Monday.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Is he for or against Maciel?
He's not a fan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And but it's interesting that he was so open about it. So I want to post.
Is it controversial to be against Maciel?
No, but he's usually pretty measured. But it was against the order, though.
Oh, he was against the Legionaries' disease. Okay.
Yeah, but no, it was a tweet, so he didn't have a whole lot to say. But you know, it was interesting.
There it is. Flynn called him a nut job. Wow.
Oh wow, I'm surprised that he usually does. Now he has been. What do I want to say? He has insulted Strickland in the past in like a kind of a.
Well, so have I, but I've done it in a charitable way.
Well, I think he was criticizing Strickland for standing up for pro-life or something, or saying he didn't understand what the thing was about. No, he got it. And if you don't think that McElroy was trying to undermine pro-life, then you're just completely naive.
Mm-hmm.
And J.D. Flynn is naive at some points, I think. Or maybe he's Opus Dei and he can't say anything. Who knows? What's the difference, right? But do we want to move on to Cardinal Tobin? have.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm reading.
I want to. Let's see here. I want to move on to Cardinal Tobin, where he talks about heresy. Yeah, the Cardinal of the modern church talks about heresy. So this is in America Magazine. Cardinal Tobin says, "My favorite definition of heresy is a refusal to deal with complexity." So what do you guys think about that? He says, if you look at the heresies of the church, the great heresies, they couldn't accept one thing or the other, and they didn't want to live with the tension. There is an essential tension and a necessary tension in so much of our life. If you destroy that tension, then the church, the sacraments, the Word of God becomes something else. It is no longer the Word of God. So he just reinvented, or he just invented a new term. And that's what we've been seeing for the past 50 years. And isn't it really annoying? Not annoying, but isn't it like, I guess annoying would be the right term. Because when these priests of goodwill, they use all these modernist loaded terms, accompaniment, dialogue, encounter, become church, like all these loaded terms, and it's like you just completely lost the entire message. So, Cardinal Tobin. What's your favorite definition of heresy, Ryan?
Post-baptismal denial of some dogma of the obstinate post-baptismal denial of a revealed truth or dogma of the Catholic faith. That's my definition of heresy.
My definition of heresy is people who attend a mass other than the Reformed Mass.
Oh, what's the Reformed Mass? Is that the Bunini rite?
Yeah, the Mass of Vatican II. Those who attend the unreformed Mass.
Oh, the unreformed Mass.
Parent Thomas Reese. Tell him Twitter is not for sending text, though. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there's an essential tension, a necessary tension. Really? I think the tension is a struggle from sin. I don't know. That's that's kind of what I thought. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on anything?
Anthony Stein had some interesting programs out earlier this week. I thought his Monday and I think his Tuesday were good. I don't remember what they were about. It may have been about the statement of some of those Benedictines in the Society of St. Vincent Ferrer who said, we're not going to obey these dubia and we're going to keep doing the old rite because it's in our constitutions. And he was contrasting their statements, which are statements, manly statements, versus the effeminate statements that came from Fraternity of St. Peter.
Or one of those videos about the Ecclesia Dei crackdown?
Yeah, I think that was maybe the Monday one.
Yeah, because you were sharing that. Someone shared it with us, and I talked about that, I think, on Saturday.
Okay.
Ash Wednesday, sorry. Ash Wednesday, there's supposedly going to be a crackdown on Ecclesia Dei groups. No one knows what exactly will happen, but they will have some restrictions.
Yeah, he got the same intelligence that we got, probably from a different source, but he got the intelligence.
So that pretty much confirms what I was saying on the earlier videos.
Yeah, it was on Tuesday. So Tuesday, the video, the hammer is about to fall on the FSSP, and he says the new document from Rome is coming, and it's coming out on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think with with that situation, it's tricky because, for example, the FSSP, they say that their constitutions specify fidelity to the Pope and exclusively saying the Old Mass.
See, and that was a big mistake. I mean, you can't have this unswerving fidelity to the Pope because you've already failed to understand that there could be an evil Pope. And this is so juvenile. It's so post-Protestant. It's so ultramontanist. It's so Vatican II. It's so 20th century that this is the problem. These so-called traditionalists are not actually traditionalists at all. They're sort of modernists that instead of concentrating power in scripture tradition and fidelity to tradition, the rites, the liturgy of the church, it just ends up being a cult of personality around the Pope. Well, what's the Fraternity of St. Peter about? It's about the Pope and how great he is. Well, now you got Bergoglio, and he's not great. He's bad. And now I hope you deal with it. You know, you're going to eat your Brussels sprouts. You're going to celebrate. Bergoglio is good for you because he proves that you were wrong. It's like the guy who goes out and he develops this scheme for how to get big on the stock market. And it's every, like Tuesday, he finds the first stock he sees that has the first letter of the symbol A, and then he goes big, long, and then a stock, and then he sells it at like 2 hours later. And he had 2 successful days just by chance. He had 2 successful days. So now he's like, that's the way it's going to be. I'll do this every day. And people are saying, dude, don't do that. You're going to get killed at some point in time. And then he's like, no, it's worked. And I know that this is the way the stock market works. I have a scheme. And then he goes and does it and get the next day and gets wiped out. Well, that's what the Fraternity of St. Peter did. Along came this idea in the last couple hundred years about how great the Pope is, and he's super duper and can do nothing wrong. And if you just do what he does, then everything's going to be great. Well, that doesn't work either now. It certainly never worked back testing because otherwise you'd be with those mafia popes and in a gang or whatever, or you'd be a heretic like some of these old day popes. And it certainly doesn't work now with Bergoglio because you'll be worshiping a Pachamama and celebrating a reformed, the even super reformed, and I put reformed in quotation marks. It's reformed like Luther was reformed, the Novus Ordo Mass. So that Fraternity of St. Peter and these positions about this unswerving obedience to the Pope is stupid. And Bergoglio is here to prove how stupid it is, that the Pope is just a man who in certain special conditions has special divinely instituted powers, and Bergoglio has no interest in being a Catholic, and you can see that by the things that he advances, which is the global warming agenda, the James Martin agenda, the all are saved, word on fire agenda, and anti-Latin Mass, anti-tradition agenda.
So do you think, and you don't, obviously none of us know this, but do you think that the crackdown is going to be, oh, you have to...
You just broke up. You said the crackdown is going to be zong.
Oh,
so what?
You can
repeat.
So the crackdown is going to be that they say you can say your old Mass, but you have to wear like modern vestments. You have to adopt a new calendar.
It would all be good for them.
You have to... I mean, they don't want the old rite sacraments. Like the modernists don't want the traditionalists to have the old rite sacraments. So I don't see how they would say, oh, well, you can do old rite baptisms. Maybe they'll say, well, you can do old rite baptisms as long as you wait till the end of Lent and only do it on the Easter Vigil. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, yeah, Patty. But do you think that they'll have something like that where they're going to say, well, we're not, that they'll weasel it so that they're not theoretically breaching their the constitutions of the FSSP, but they're still pushing them in a direction that's very...
Who is they?
The Vatican.
And who's the Vatican? Bergoglio?
Yeah, like whoever
issues... You can do it. Stop right there. Bergoglio, according to the canon law and the Ultramontanist, can do whatever he pleases. Bergoglio can tell people nobody can celebrate the Novus Ordo starting tomorrow. He can do that. And the Ultramontanists are going to say, like, oh, I guess the Novus Ordo is banned. And then, or you can say, like, nobody's celebrating Mass tomorrow. And the Ultramontanists would say, like, oh, Bergoglio said it, I have to obey it. There is like almost no limit to what the Ultramontanists say that the Pope can do. I think they might say that he can't say that the valid matter for the Eucharist is like pepperoni pizza and Diet Coke. I think they might draw a line there. I think they might draw a line with baptism being with pure water, because Trent said it. But even they get around Trent, because Trent said a lot of stuff about the form of the sacraments and the rites of the sacraments in Latin, and you can't change them and all this. But they got away from that. So it's basically like whatever the Pope can get away with is one of his powers. And the Vatican II post-Reformation Church, that's like one of the dogmas. There's very few dogmas. It's like Popey says is the dogma. Popey says stand on one foot. I'm standing on one foot, Popey. I'm obedient. Popey says smash that altar reel. I'm smashing it, Popey. I'm obedient. Say that Novus Ordo. I'm celebrating that Novus Ordo, Popey.
So you think that the FSSP is going to go along with whatever comes from Rome?
I honestly don't know. I think I said this before. Last time we did a show, I said big FSSP, sold out FSSP, is going to do whatever Bergoglio says, and then there will be a resistance FSSP that'll break off. And you're going to see that everywhere in all these orders, except for Good Shepherd. They're already saying we're resistance. That Benedictine monastery is resistance. I think there was another group that said they're resistance.
Well, unfortunately for us in the United States, there's only one Institute of the Good Shepherd.
I know, it's sad. It's in California, right? Okay, every time I ask you're about to say something interesting, it breaks up. So I said there's only one that's in California, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah.
And for me, that's not a very.
Maybe I'll go there once a year.
Yeah, that's not a great commute for me. It might take me a few days. But let's.
Oh, they got. Ad Voluntas said he was out buying Purell so he could go to the Novus Ordo on Sunday.
Yeah, I saw that. That cracked me up. Had to buy Purell.
It's no. Somebody said here that Institute of Good Shepherd has a place in New Hampshire.
Oh, let's find it. And can you supply us with some priests?
Let me see here. Oh yeah, so St. Stanislaus Parish in Winchester, New Hampshire.
Wow. Never heard of that. Wow.
Yeah.
St. Francis said in the end days God would send an uncanonically elected pope to destroy the church. Interesting.
So Good Shepherd has 48 priests and over 30 seminarians.
Is that total?
Yeah, total throughout the world. That's pretty big.
Yeah. They don't have their own bishop though, do they?
No, nobody has their own bishop. Except SSPX and the Sedevacantist. Oh, and then the St. John Vianney, but that's basically worthless because that, even though the Bishop of St. John Vianney is an old rite bishop, he's basically sworn allegiance to Vatican II and the Novus Ordo and all that stuff.
Patty's saying, you better be careful.
Did I commit a Twitter crime against Bergoglio?
You may have. That's what Patty's saying. Patty's gonna call the Vatican police on you. And
yeah, the Vatican, the great firewall of the Vatican, and the secret police will come and take away my papers. I won't. I don't have the jab card, so I won't be able to receive Holy Communion in the Vatican II Novus Ordo sect.
Well, that that Northern Ireland mafia is going to shut us down on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see. Remember 3 pumps of sanitizer for the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. You know, I was saying this at the beginning. You know how they replaced holy water with
hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. It's the holy hand sanitizer. It's the virus sacrament. And guess what?
Yeah.
It hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
Virus sacramental, sorry. But yeah, I mean, if you had an opportunity to get Epiphany water, that would combat the virus sacraments.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, this thing it's ramping up. You know, we're seeing more information online. Wasn't it funny? CNN is starting to question some of the narratives
about the virus.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Shocking.
Yeah. Well, I think there were so many people criticizing the Supreme Court justice who said that there were like 100,000 children like hospitalized or something, which was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like that was so off base that even the liberal. So it's.
Wait, you were just censored again. So what did you say?
Even some of the liberal media outlets were critical of his justice.
Okay.
I think it was Sotomayor or something.
Okay.
I think it might have been her. But I mean, these people are they're starting to. I can see where it's starting to kind of tip a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we might not be there yet, but whenever it, we'll open the floodgates, freedom's going to ring just in time. They're trying to push it to the election.
It's too far away.
They can't. That's what I mean. They're losing the grip.
It's just a congressional election. They don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Congress has no power. It's all the media and the Federal Reserve and the presidency.
Well, but if they got like
Supremes.
See, but if they get full power, they could completely
unlimited power.
They could ban Christianity and all Christian values.
Isn't it already banned?
Well, I mean, if you look at yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as it is in China, though. I mean, actually, I'm listening to an audiobook on Pius X.
Uh-huh.
Pope Pius X, and there was something about Chinese bishops. Was it Chinese bishops? How he ordained a bunch of Chinese bishops? I'll have to double check myself on that. But I thought it was so interesting. But let's see.
Hey, here's a piece of news here. I'll send this to you. You can include this on the EVTN here.
Okay.
Because we don't have time to discuss it. I have to get going here. We're at an hour. Alice von Hildebrand died. Requiescat in Pace. She was 98 years old. She's looked old for like 20 years. Well, I guess that 20 years ago would have been 80, and she was old then. So, but anyway, yeah, she died today.
Okay. They're beginning to consider their own role in all of this, and they're starting.
Well, yeah, the media is starting to have second thoughts about what they've done.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
Yes.
So, thank you, Ryan, for.
Thank you, John.
Channel. Thank you for your appearance on this channel, and thank you so much for watching, everyone. Until next time, we are the laity.
And we will not be silent.